them go. This is a time in your life that you can no longer continue.
There will be scandals among the high and the mighty. So I saw a row of thrones seated in high positions. Earthquake hit those thrones. They started to shake, and people began to fall out of the thrones in public and shameful falls.
Surprising new revelations coming out regarding the actual nature of TD Jakes and Diddy's connection. You won't want to miss this, as well as the latest charges against TD Jakes' family.
Happy birthday is tomorrow! His wife's birthday is tomorrow! Happy birthday! Happy birthday! Happy birthday is tomorrow! His wife's birthday is tomorrow! Happy birthday!
Some of you come in to hear what I'm going to say. All of you who expect me to address a lie, you can log off.
TD Jakes and Diddy freak off party.
TD Jakes is more than simply a preacher. He's a big person in the spiritual realm. As the founder and bishop of the Potter's House, one of the biggest non-denominational mega-churches in the U.S., he has earned a reputation for his forceful sermons and leadership. His impact goes well beyond Dallas, with his words reaching millions of people via broadcasts and bestseller books. Recently, however, he faced a very major health scare on stage, with many saying it was Diddy maybe attempting to quiet him.
First at 5:30, however, he is an internationally known preacher based here in Dallas. This morning, during a 9 a.m. Sunday service, Bishop TD Jakes of the Potter's House suffered a health incident during a morning prayer. The whole thing caught on camera as that morning service was being streamed around the world. Our Olivia Leach joining us now outside the Potter's House in Dallas with more on the megachurch pastor.
Every Sunday, thousands of parishioners come here to the Potter's House in Dallas for their Sunday service. This is where Bishop TD Jakes suffered that medical incident while on stage. Now the video of the incident is going viral.
This is where Bishop TD Jakes experienced that medical issue while on stage. Now the footage of the event is going viral. In the video that's now gone viral, you can see Bishop Jakes concluded his Sunday sermon and then grew silent, looked to tremble, the audience responding before many people rushed on stage to come to his help. Over the years, Jakes has merged biblical teachings with personal stories, garnering him both respect and censure. His career has not been without controversy, including legal conflicts and claims relating to high-profile persons. He has long been said to have been a part of Diddy's freak-offs.
Tell you something, and that's why, that's why people get on my nerves talking about who you should be seen with. I do homeless shelters. I walk in prison ministries. I deal with murderers. I deal with rapists and killers because they're our children, our sons and our daughters. Hallelujah. I never have to justify.
One such legal concern came in March 2024 when a producer who had worked with music mogul Diddy filed a federal lawsuit against Jakes. The complaint stated that Diddy sought to leverage his connection against Jakes. The complaint alleged that Diddy sought to exploit his connection with Jakes to shield his public image after charges from his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Gene Deal verified that this was the situation.
Diddy, he was using TD Jakes to fix his image. You believe that?
Well, we saw that to be true anyway. That's what he was trying to do all that time. That's why TD Jakes was there, to try to fix his image. Ain't no money like church money. He was doing all the things to try to get his image straightened up.
I mean, it makes sense. And he also said in this lawsuit that when he was around Diddy, he seen Diddy give out guns, a lot of guns. And he said that the environment around Diddy was violent.
Well, I don't know. He also said Diddy distributed firearms and was selling drugs. And I don't know how far-fetched that is. I don't know if that's true or not and stuff like that. Maybe, Diddy may have had guns around and was fronting. Because they do have guys who If you need guns and stuff like that, call your man them over. He'll bring over 5 or 6, 7, 8 guns, and you'll probably buy them from them. They had that type of, connection with people.
Ventura's complaint, filed in November 2023, accused Diddy of sex trafficking, abuse, and violence. Her case was only one of numerous against the hip-hop entrepreneur, as 2 other women also came forward in the same month with claims of sexual assault. The complaint against Jakes alleges that he was using his influence within religious and public circles to assist Diddy handle the aftermath. And it turns out that TD Jakes and Diddy may have the same sexual leanings, since Jake's own son is homosexual, despite his being a preacher.
So you being a bodyguard for Diddy, you've been to his parties. You feel like it's totally inappropriate for TD Jakes to be at a Diddy party?
I think it's very inappropriate of a man of a cloth to be at a party like that and then dancing across the stage or dancing, at that type of atmosphere. You got to separate yourself from the two, man. You know what I'm saying? You got people with drugs, alcohol, you know what I'm saying? Women that's loose, women that's in the women, men is in the men is in woman, 2s, 3s, whatever. Anything that goes on, goes on. But that's back in the, from in the 90s and 2000. But it wasn't so much back then that you see men coming on each other like that, like you do now. They don't care now. You know what I'm saying? They don't give a shit. But back then, they cared a little bit more who knew that they was out like that. They don't care no more. It's activity like that in all phases of rap now. You understand? So in those parties, you definitely gonna see that there because you see rappers there. You understand? You're gonna see that stuff there, man. But my whole thing about it is this. You got a reverend or you got a bishop that's supposed to be helping you get your house in order. And he's supposed to be doing the right thing. And you look at your television, he doing the wrong thing because he dancing at Diddy party.
Since these charges appeared, Diddy has received substantial public and judicial attention. His name has been at the heart of heated conversations about sexual misbehavior in the entertainment world. The claims have led to Diddy winding up in prison and allegations regarding TD Jakes being revisited.
So I want to get right into it, man. How you feel about these rumors surrounding, Diddy and TD Jakes?
Man, what I think about it is this, when I grew up in the church, the sinners was not supposed to have the same atmosphere with the saints. You have to be able to separate the two. So I'm looking at him as a saint going to a party that ain't nothing but sin, drinking, maybe fornication, man on man, woman on woman, he on she. But maybe he there to lay some hands on somebody. Maybe he there to save some souls. I know he got a contract with Revolt, so I'm just like, it's just real strange that he would be found at any kind of Diddy party or any kind of place with Diddy unless it's in a business atmosphere. So now what he's doing is he's making, man, he making the Christians look real bad right about now.
And you've been to these parties, right?
Oh yeah, I was there when he was doing the white parties in the Hamptons and the whole 9 yards. So I know what goes on at the parties. If, they probably got a little bit more freakier, as time went on, because they got to the point whereas that they didn't even care. It used to be secretly, where people used to go to, separate rooms and different rooms, and they wasn't doing that out in the public, so, but now they don't care. Men kissing men and all this other that's just crazy.
So why do you think he was going to these parties?
I think that he's going to the Diddy parties, bruh. If he's going, well, we know he's going to the Diddy parties, and I know that it's, I know what usually happens at the Diddy party.
As the legal battles continue, the impact on Diddy's career and reputation remains a subject of intense debate, especially since we have had new bombshell allegations about his forced relations with men.
That Diddy would have the person slather baby oil all over them that is laced with some substance. We don't know whether he's talking about GHB or something like that. We just don't know. But it would render the person kind of semi-conscious, I suppose.
Yeah, the way it's laid out in this lawsuit is a man who says he met Diddy back in 2007. He was a Vegas adult male entertainer, said he was retained for dances and so forth, but then it turned into sort of these sex parties that we've heard all about. And he says the baby oil was slathered all over him to the point that it was dripping off. And he says after it was applied, he began to feel drowsy, disoriented, all of those things, and became more sort of pliable to do the sort of sexual things that Diddy was directing him to do, according to the lawsuit.
As he says, Diddy watched, we're not going to get more specific. It's about as graphic as it gets, based on this lawsuit. But suffice it to say, Diddy was up close and personal watching.
It's extremely graphic, and as you pointed out, the feds pointed out those 1,000 bottles of baby oil. That's mentioned in the criminal indictment, but never further than that. It sounded like kink shaming, sort of maybe he was into baby oil, but there's no crime involved with that. It looked like it was just a pot shot at Diddy. If this is part of the forensics of what they gathered from his compound during those raids, it's going to add an entirely new dimension to this case.
Now, Charles, the one thing that I didn't quite know from the lawsuit, although I'm assuming, is that if this is true, I guess they would have taken the bottle and unscrewed the cap,
and opened,
and then pour in whatever the drug is, and then close it. But I don't think he would have done it to 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
No, but you would keep if this is true, you keep the baby oil stopped, and then you open it and put whatever in.
Meanwhile, Jakes himself is facing different claims. A clergyman called Richard Youngblood has come forward with charges that Jakes tried to sexually attack him decades ago. These charges came as part of a court battle between Jakes and Richard's brother, Dwayne Youngblood.
Bishop T.D. Jakes is suing another bishop. So it's going to be a salacious conversation in a very public manner. Is it wise? Will it be not just beneficial or hurtful to Bishop T.D. Jakes, but will it be beneficial and or hurtful or helpful to the church itself, to his local congregation, and to the church at large? The Apostle Paul said this: all things are lawful. So as to the question of whether it is biblical for him to be able to do that, that question is easily disposed of. Yes, he can do it. And there is no bright line rule or prohibition in scriptures. Withstanding what Paul said in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, there is no prohibition against Christians suing Christians. The much broader and the much more mature question and the much more impactful question is always, is it smart? Is it wise? Put all that out there. I don't know.
Jakes had previously filed a defamation case against Dwayne, saying that Dwayne wrongly accused him of improper conduct during appearances on the YouTube talk program Larry Reed Live. Dwayne stated that Jakes had attempted to kiss him and made unwanted approaches while he was a teenager. In response, Jakes sued Dwayne for defamation, demanding $75,000, 0 cents in damages, lawyers' costs, and punitive penalties. Now, in a fresh affidavit, Richard Youngblood has come out with his own accusations. He asserts that in the 1980s, he went with Jakes as his driver, and that during a hotel stay, Jakes came into his bed, rubbed against him, and attempted to kiss him. Richard remembers being stunned by the encounter, noting in his declaration, "At this point, I cannot believe what is happening to me. I have relocated my family, following this guy throughout the nation, and in this hotel, I am being presented to what amounted to a groomer. Recently, even Dr. Umar came out and blasted TD Jakes for his close relationship to Diddy.
How you feel about TD Jakes? Because what caught my attention about him is, you know, it's a lot of people that have mixed feelings about him. You have some people that's a fan of his, and you have some people that feel like he's a fraud. But how you feel about him?
I'm not going to call him a fraud. I think I'm not a fan of TD Jakes because I don't see TD Jakes doing enough to help Black America. That's really my only gripe with the man. As far as him being at the Puff Daddy freak-offs, clearly that is behavior unbecoming of a pastor. Clearly that is behavior unbecoming of a pastor. But he's not the first to do something like that, and he's not the last to do something like that. I mean, let's be honest, every day we have pastors, Black and white, being exposed in this country, sleeping with minors, molesting kids, cheating on their wives, stealing from the church. It's no longer a shock to find out a pastor has been outed as being a closet homosexual.
It's no longer a shock to find that a preacher has been outed as being a closet gay. According to Richard, when he approached Jakes about the event, Jakes shrugged it off, stating his answer had hurt his emotions. Richard further states that after reporting the event to a church official, he was no longer welcome at the Potter's home. It's been 39 years of my life, my now ex-wife, and our children, products of a shattered family and our religion smashed to bits, he claimed in the declaration. TD Jakes clearly has this potential.
It's no longer a shock, and that's sad. But my issue with TD Jakes is he makes too much money. His church brings in too much revenue for them not to have a school for our children, for them not to have a hospital for our children, for them not to have a bank for our families, for them not to have a supermarket to provide our people with good food. TD Jakes' church brings in too much revenue for him not to be a factor in the resurrection of Black America. That's my issue with TD Jakes.
Yeah, I mean, if he's making that kind of money, he should be doing more, you know.
A spokesman for Jakes has strenuously refuted the charges, calling them unfounded. Jakes' attorney, Dustin Push, issued a statement saying Dwayne Youngblood's latest filing, including the self-serving affidavit from his brother Richard, is replete with his continued baseless allegations and is just more of the same from him and his attorneys.
Maybe he need to see it for himself, man. Maybe he need to go there and really be involved in some things that could help save some individuals while they going to those parties. Or maybe he just going to, man, it's hard to even talk about. Why would you find a religious man, you know, when you know that the saints supposed to separate themselves from the sinners? And why would a religious man like himself be at a party which ain't nothing but sin that's going on, bro? Whether it's drinking, maybe fornicating, maybe, like I said, men on men, women on women. It's hard to put in perspective unless he's involving himself what is actually going on at the parties. It's hard, brother. Bro, you know, you can't, I really don't know why, as a spiritual advisor to him, that they buddy while he got a party with.
Do you think TD Jakes could have done this, or is it all baloney? Let us know in the comments